Now, if I just help you, now, let me do it. I'm not hurting you, am I? No. Can I get it there? Now, can you hold that? Whoa, of course not. But you will be able to one day, because I've done a lot of training and I'm quite flexible. I'm not very flexible, and I can hold my leg about here, which is not bad. If you're really, really flexible and you've had lots of training, it looks like that.
When a dancer extends a leg past her ear, it's not just flexibility, it's also strength.
It's good, isn't it?
Sylvie Guillem is one of the most talented, versatile and flexible ballerinas of her generation. My partner here, Edward Watson, is a first soloist with the Royal Ballet. While Sylvie's one of the most flexible women around, he's one of the most flexible men. The secret of their flexibility doesn't lie entirely in their muscles, as you might expect. In fact, only about 10% of a dancer's flexibility comes from the stretchiness of their muscles. "85% of your flexibility is predetermined at birth, dictated by the architecture of your joints." If your joints don't permit this range of movement, there's no amount of stretching will help. The shape of your bones and the thickness of the cartilage is written in your genes, and that's something you can't change, however hard you train. If flexibility and jumping are mainly about genetics, a skill that's more about practice is balance. That heart-stopping moment in the Rosadage, when the ballerina stands unsupported, centre stage, is all down to hours of practice and nerves of steel. Balancing on point is almost equivalent to dancing on a high wire. A bit less frightening, but the area you're standing on is probably even smaller. Molly Soudek is a dancer who takes balance to extremes. She performs on a wire, about the thickness of a pencil and several feet above the ground. What kind of skills would you need to be a wire walker? I mean, what's the best genetics to have, for instance? I mean, height or...
No, I've seen all body types do it, but it's a particular kind of focus.
Right.
And an awareness of your body.
I mean, when you're on the wire, I can see that you're completely focused. Do you have to prepare for that, or does that come in an instant?
What's difficult about it is finding the strength inside yourself to make the decision to stay on. And that's where the will and the focus come in.
So can I try this?
This is terrifying. It's like my first ever lesson on point shoes, but 5 feet above the ground.
It's a decision. I mean, to fall down at this height is not going to hurt you. You're going to land on your feet. But you have to make the decision to stay on. Keep going. Get to the side. Same step again. Freaking out is not allowed.
I'm trying to stand still, but there's no way I can because balance isn't static. It's a constantly changing state. When Molly shows me how the fan works, I realise it's a magnified version of what's going on inside my point shoes. My feet and ankles make constant tiny adjustments, like the fan, to keep me on balance.
Why wasn't I allowed to start with this?
Because you need to understand how the balance works first, how your body works with the wire, and then you're in a position to understand what this can or cannot do for you.
But those adjustments have to be so subtle that the audience isn't even aware they're going on. And then you have to make it look easy.
Not bad.
That was pretty good.
Like balancing on a wire, dance technique only improves through repetition. Unfortunately, too much repetition can lead to injury. Neelas Martins is a principal dancer with New York City Ballet. Like all male dancers, he spends hours every day jumping. The pressure on his knee and ankle joints is tremendous. When the body lands from a jump, the joints absorb forces up to 15 times the body's weight. His ankle started to cause problems about a year ago.
First, it started with just swelling, and then it became more and more painful, really, in the last year. Coming down from big jumps has been a problem, you know, and sometimes it's just more painful than other times. Anyway, I think, finally I just couldn't deal with the pain anymore, and I decided I'm going to go have these x-rays taken to find out what is going on in there.
Having tried physiotherapy and rest with no effect, Neelas went to see New York City Ballet's surgeon. It was his last option, and his worst fears were confirmed. The X-rays revealed 2 bone growths, called spurs, in Neelas's ankle. When Neelas flexed his foot in a plie, a fundamental position for a dancer, the spurs rubbed together, pinching the nerve endings and causing excruciating pain.
These are Neelas's X-rays. He has built up spurs in the front of his ankle on both sides of the joint, on the lip of the tibia and the neck of the ankle bone. And you can see in this plie view how these come together when he lands from a jump. Neelas dance is a type of ballet technique known for big jumps and deep plies in landing. And the male dancers who do that technique, when they get into their 30s, are prone to this problem.
My ankle had been kind of chronically swollen for about a year. And, you know, swelling should only be there for short periods of time, and it's not something that should be there all the time. So I knew something was wrong. If you have a problem with your foot, if you're constantly compensating and favoring that foot, you're probably going to start getting pain in your back or in your hip. Once that starts, then you really start having problems everywhere, and then you know, pretty soon you can't do anything. Taking all those things into consideration, it makes it a lot easier to decide to have surgery.
But with the obvious risks involved, surgery for a dancer is always the last option. The success of Neelas's future career hung on the outcome of an hour in the operating theatre.
What we plan to do is open up his ankle with this very small incision and look inside. We know about the spurs because we can see those on the x-ray, but there are often other things going on in there that do not show on the x-ray. And then by various means we'll clean out the front of his ankle and take out whatever it is in there that's causing his symptoms. It may be bone spurs, it may be some soft tissue scarring, it can be several different things.
Dr. Hamilton takes the opportunity to check the general condition of Neelas's ankle, looking closely for early signs of arthritis.
what I see is there's a small lip on the front of the tibia, just like it shows on the MRI, not very big. You look over all the way across to see his ankle joint itself is pristine. Cross, there's no scar tissue on.
This is a crucial point in the operation. Any chips of bone left in the ankle joint could cause their own problems later on in Nilas's career.
That just loosens it up in front.
The spurs are carefully chipped away from the bone and removed.
Now what I want to do now, though, I want to take him over the side of the table and actually put him into a plie, because he's absolutely sure that there's nothing coming together. Perfect. And I've got
Dr. Hamilton pushes Nilas's ankle into plie to check the range of movement now the bone spurs have been removed. He's relieved to see the movement is totally free.
I don't feel anything, no, at all. We can roll him back flat now.
Okay.
The ankle is very clean, and usually these clean-outs work like a charm. It isn't quite as good as new, but it's close to that. So his prognosis is excellent.
But the tension is by no means over. Nilas has a long period of rehabilitation ahead before he'll know if the operation was a success. It's now 3 weeks after the operation, and Nilas is in for his first session with New York City Ballet's physiotherapist, Marika Molnar. Over the next few weeks, she'll monitor his progress to find out how successful the operation has been.
Lift your pelvis, hold that.
Dr. Hamilton has been very sweet in telling me that it'll only take about 3 months. Other people tell me longer. But in any case, I think I'm a fast healer, and I think that my desire to really get better is so strong that I think I'm going to do well coming back.
Marika's role is not just to treat Nilas's ankle. She'll also help him get back to peak fitness, so by the time his ankle's recovered, the rest of his body will be ready to go again.
And a lot of physical therapy is dependent on what condition the dancer is in. In Nilas's case, he danced right up until the surgery. He was performing, and then right after the last performance, he went in and had the surgery. So he was in pretty good shape. Consequently, he's a lot easier to rehabilitate and keep him in good shape, so that as soon as this ankle and the lower leg musculature is strong and flexible, he could get back up there very quickly.
It's now 3 months after the operation, and Nilas is fully recovered and back on stage at New York's Lincoln Center. But jumping isn't just demanding on the feet and ankles, it impacts on the whole body.
Okay.
Ivan Putrov is a principal dancer with the Royal Ballet, about to dance the Bluebird from the Sleeping Beauty. Male ballet solos with these sort of big jumps don't usually last longer than a minute or two. This has nothing to do with creative choreography, or even with the dancer getting too tired. The limiting factor is the build-up of a chemical within the muscles called lactic acid. It's the reality faced by any athlete exercising at full power.